So thank you again for inviting me to be part of this EICT supported workshop on the art of technical articles writing. So I can see that the program already has various aspects of writing papers, including design of diagrams, and then how to cite, how to compare. There's so many aspects are discussed. I'm sure other speakers have covered about the elements of paper writing. So I thought I will try to be more, illustrate the same thing through example. So ultimately, you are writing a paper. What is this paper? Is paper is essentially a documentation of the work you have done. So therefore, it is very important to ensure that the work you do is a quality, the work that is timely, the work that is can make impact on the world, and what are the elements that make that impact. So I will cover those aspects with example, taking my own example. Okay, I also believe that many attendees are like those who are doing PhD. So I'm making that assumption. So therefore, I will give you the kind of background you need to build for successful PhD. The next, once you finish PhD, so you will become say academic professor or researcher in industry. So what? So how do we go about those aspects with example? So I will present. So thanks again. So here is the formal title. I gave it to my presentation as excellence and impact of research and their publication. So obviously, I will illustrate this through my own journey and discuss reflection on the same. So, okay, so here are the various points that I will cover. So I will start with how I got started in research. So this way you know what it takes to or how to move ahead with the research. Then of course you do a research, you get a PhD, then you are transiting towards academic career or industrial research career. So I will discuss about that. Then of course, how do you approach research? So there are different aspects for research, so we will cover those. Then I will give you some of the examples and tips on building stronger research. Then of course we'll also discuss about improving publication and their impact. So what are the elements that make publication impact? Let's say you've written a paper, so we say some papers are very highly popular and they are known to be making high impact, and why? So there are reasons. We will discuss those so that you can follow those approaches in your own work in the future. So then, so this way we look into lesson learned and conclude at the end. So this is the overall plan, and I believe that this, is more in line with complements what has already been discussed so far. So if you look at PhD, obviously you can do research for various purposes, including you can do in bachelor degree, in master degree project. But usually those who are moving towards this career, they tend to join get one PhD degree as well. So usually how you plan? Usually we think PhD degree is quite a smooth, plain ride. Okay, so you go from point A to point B and you get a degree, very smooth, no problem. So that is what you plan, but reality is different. So if you look at the reality of this pathway all the way from start to the end, so you come across lots of humps and digs and holes, all sorts of things. So one should be able to navigate and manage that successfully. Even apart from doing research and contributing to the field, even once you write a paper, getting it published also challenging as well. So because you are competing globally, and the quality that you write, the work has to be both in research and also the presentation, all has to be world class quality, especially if you are targeting very prominent established conferences and journals. So we will cover all these points as we go along. But I want to highlight, I'm sure many of you know, and the whole the community knows that these are the challenges. It is not a smooth straight line to reach a goal. Okay, so even this is true for everything in academic career also. It is not a smooth straight.
ওগুলো ভিজাও ভেজে পরে দেখছি যা আছে পর্দার সঙ্গে লাগবে গা
Can you please unmute Soumi or whoever they are? Mute.
Samarjit, Samarjit,
Debasis, those who is a controller of manager of this
Yeah.
Zoom session, that person should
Yes.
be always on lookout and manage it.
Yes. Shamadit, please look at it. Shamadit and Biplab. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
actually,
So
today is the environment day, and our university is conducting 5 parallel sessions. So the main session is in the environment day is going on. So this problem started. That is the reason. Otherwise, we have a console kind of thing. So sorry for that.
yeah. Anyway, so each Zoom session has its own ID, so no problem.
Yeah.
All right. So that is just to look at myself. So how I got started as a researcher. So sometime I think perhaps I started as a researcher right from birth. So let me illustrate some examples. So even during primary school days, I guess I explored a lot of things, especially with electrical devices and systems at home. Like for example, we had a floor mill. In India, you know that when you have electricity from electricity board like West Bengal Electricity Board, so the electricity this voltage level, so it is varies very frequently. Sometime it is 50 volts, sometime 250, sometime 350, sometime 150. But your motor has to run. Your things need to operate. But if there is a too low voltage, it's very danger. If it is too high, also very danger. If it's too high, even the motors will burn or even the bulbs will burn. But if it's too low, so they don't really operate. So here in our mill, so I used to operate these starters. The traditionally the starters used to be very different. So in starters, for example, so they used to have like oil level knobs. So based on the voltage level, you adjust them so that your mill will still operate. So somehow I think through my own experiment, so I managed to figure out at what level that each of those knob level should be in such a way that our mill runs without any problem, irrespective of variation in the voltage. So this is a sort of experimental research. Okay, trial and error. So you have various facility, then you need to see what is the best configuration that delivers the best result, and that is what you do in research also. So when you do experimental research, so you have various parameters, and then what all scenario which work best in various degree of conditions. And this is applicable in wireless networks, in computing system, in cloud system, in in healthcare, so many application areas. So such technique can be useful. Okay, so that is how I thought I explored in primary school. Then moving straight towards the engineering degree. So now when you look at computer science degree, so you especially focus on computer science engineering, where you look into system software. Especially during the time when I was doing engineering 30 years ago. So at that time we didn't have computer networks. So maximum you have a local area networks, and then you need to do a lot of things. And then if you want to communicate from one computer to other computer, just like we are doing Zoom communication or a chat based communication, so you have to build everything yourself right from the low level software interrupts level, where you can activate the remote application. So such things I did explore in engineering a lot, where we were able to create applications which we can today call it like a Skype system. So that means to build such a system, so we have to start from buying a wire, and then learning RS-232C programming, interrupt programming, then building a connectivity from computer to computer, then building TSR program. Those are called transient and resident programs, which were running on remote computers. You press on a key, and I say I want to talk to Debasis, so I will have some key combination. When I click, the interrupt is sent to another computer. They'll open up a pop-up, just like a telephone ringing or a request for communication. Then Debasis can connect to me, and we can speak. So such a thing was done. This was my, the project project during engineering. So now you can see such things are now available more easily, like Skype, WhatsApp, and the Zoom, and all those things are now the latest, more easy to. But however, the core foundations are the same thing. So this is what I want to highlight. And because of their experience in doing quite a bit of system level programming in C and also in assembly language programming, so that was such a nice experience that I not only just write a report, but I also ended up writing a book called Microprocessor x86 Programming. So there were no such books at that time. So system level programming. So that is a book published 30 years ago. And even though it was published almost 25, 30 years ago, but the book is still available in the market, and then people are still using it for x86 programming. So I'm not sure how many of you done XML programming, but so this is important. So what I'm highlighting is your research means you don't have to wait for a PhD or a becoming a professor. You need to do that during your own level of study, whether you are engineering or you are in high school or in masters or PhD. So each of those level will present you opportunity for you to be innovative. Okay, and then you can do it, and this is what I am highlighting, that you can do it. And this is an example of the book that comes out of my undergraduate days. And then of course this was an exciting opportunity to explore more in depth. Okay, so if you are someone studying, and of course you can encourage that this kind of quality even with your own students. Let's say you finish your PhD and you join as a professor in West Bengal University of Technology, WBT, or now it's a new name, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just a new or old name, so the same thing. So we need to build that qualities or encourage and inspire students to be like that. So especially now with this today with this pandemic. So there's a huge opportunity for those working in Internet of Things, networks, and wireless to build very interesting application that can help deal with situation that we are today facing in the pandemic in terms of, for example, social distancing policies or contact tracing. All these things can easily be done as a nice project with innovation. Okay, so it can be homemade solution. So that is one, that is the engineering life. Then come to, for example, masters. So when you're doing masters, in my case, I was doing in Bangalore. Then you also need to do master project. What did I do? So I somehow managed to get entry into CDAC, Center for Development of Advanced Computing, where they would develop supercomputers, Indian supercomputers. At that time, it was more of a like a second generation of Indian supercomputers research. So I was very keen on doing some research on this kind of distributed computing system. So why did I do that? So between masters and bachelors, I joined one company who were developing software system for automating structural engineering and building construction. Like the building design. If you are building a multi-story building in Calcutta, so they have multiple floors and different places, the soil level, the strength, the material, the iron, steel that you're using. So and also durability of the building. So all these factors need to be considered in design. So that was called structural modeling. So the company where I was working, the structural modeling software running on a state-of-the-art servers at that time, it was taking several days for a small scale building modeling, wireframe modeling. So then I was always thinking there must be some way to speed up their computation, perhaps using multiple computers together. So using network of computers together to create a supercomputer. Then with the thoughts, I joined CDAC for my master project. Then of course there I was working on system software, and also I developed there something called a new standards-based POSIX standards-based concurrency programming interface like multi-threading on top of this Param supercomputers. So this way applications built for using standard can run on Param supercomputer easily. So that work ended up becoming a conference my research paper. So that was my first research publication. Previously that book, so I think I started very unusual. Rather than writing a paper, I first wrote a book. Then of course in master's project led to publication. then not only that, during that the company where I was working, so we were developing software in C++. So I ended up doing so much of C++ research that so, and then very unique way. So at that time there were not a proper C++ book. Primarily they were more like a manual. I thought there's a need for much more easy to use textbook. So based on my experience, I ended up writing that mastering C++. That was also published during master's time. So one more of a bachelor output, this is more of a master, in between bachelor's and master. Yeah, so you can see you can do that some interesting work as well. And meanwhile, while working at CDAC as part of master, then I was thinking maybe I should think of doing PhD. Perhaps not only doing computing at the scale of within small local networks or a small tightly connected systems. Why don't we combine the computing capability of multiple computers across the internet? During 94 95, internet was just came, so at that time, the 1995 was internet slowly being connected. So but this was the idea. So I thought internet scale computing. So with that idea, I end up writing a research proposal for PhD. And here you can see. So here is the link where you can look at the PhD proposal that I wrote. And what you see up to now is all this grid computing, cloud computing, service computing, all sorts of things happening from 97 to now. During last. So 25 years or so. So these things are, in one sense, you can say they are realization. um, Even the research now is, one sense, is also sort of those high level vision realize much more nicely. So you can see in the process, you publish book, publish papers. Okay, so this is the way. So depending upon the challenges of the day, so you can be forefront and then move on. So this is something to consider. At that time, during 1995, the whole world, especially India and the rest of the world, it was very much bogged on with most people. In the IT industry was flourishing. Hardly any, most people were not interested in doing higher education. So like they just want to finish up engineering and get good job and move on. So whereas I was very keen on at that time. So therefore I gave up opportunity of working in corporate and then moved to a research. So it is ultimately your own personal interest. So that is more important, personal motivation to contribute to the advance of knowledge and doing something innovative which doesn't exist at that time. Okay. Then of course, after bachelor's, I joined PhD. For PhD, I came to Australia. So of course, after bachelor's and PhD, in between, what did I do? I worked for CDAC for from that 1995 end to 1997 March end. So at CDAC, developing system software, that Param supercomputer software, developing resource monitoring systems. So that was successful, and wrote some journal paper also before joining PhD. Okay, so then you join PhD. So meanwhile, please note at CDAC, so I was working on building supercomputer based on what they call cluster computing system. So it is a network computer in a local area network, LAN connected, high speed connected networks, build a supercomputer out of it. So that was a very important, at that time, the worldwide, this cluster computing became very popular research. And then I was working on, and since there were no really books at that time in 1997, so I started this book project, inviting several several contributors around the world, and publish this high performance cluster computing book. So this was actual publication happened during PhD, but before that I already started this project. Okay, and apart from doing research, so I also started this IEEE task force on cluster computing. So this is a task force that brings various researchers around throughout the world together as a task force, various programs including conferences and resource centers, and then promoting this research worldwide. So these are the community services. You can apart from doing the research. So you can see that means as researchers, it is not just enough to do a PhD, but also you can contribute something unique. And of course, like I was saying, PhD like pointed to be always smooth. So a lot of challenges comes into picture. In my case, I joined for PhD in Queensland. Then after 6 months, my supervisor says he is leaving university and joining Microsoft in Seattle. That means, so you don't have any PhD supervisor anymore, correct? So that is one of the challenge that comes into picture. Well, so that is all right, but in which case I had to leave the university and migrate myself to another university. So that's why I ended up moving to Monash University. So there I found another supervisor. So I moved from Brisbane to Melbourne. So Monash University, Melbourne. So here I did research on grid computing. And why grid computing at that time? Okay, if you look at that time during 98, 99, so this grid computing was just beginning and gaining a lot of popularity, beginning phase. So of course this research was more and more in line with the research that I envisioned when I was CDAC. So I ended up moving in that direction, and so there developed what we call economic-based resource management system for this worldwide computing platform, where computing become like a market-oriented economic services. Okay, so in the process, I ended up developing software called, not contributing to Nimrod G grid system, but also a simulator called GridSim. So apart from involving in these community services. So this GridSim is a simulator. So that simulator I just developed for my own use. But but I found that the simulator I can generalize it and make it nicer and develop a manual and release for the use by rest of the world. So lots of people started using as a result. So that simulator became very popular, which also means that I did publish a paper on simulator GridSim. Okay, okay. So and meanwhile, I was also involved in creating conferences. So this GridSim I mentioned during this was in 2002. My PhD was also getting over at that time. So the software that was released, and then so many users around the world in universities and companies have used this software GridSim, not only using my own PhD but also used by others like IBM. So today IBM CTO of IBM research in Bangalore, called Gargi, so she herself also used GridSim in their research at IBM. Okay, so like that you can see several companies have used, and several universities around the world also have used this software, like for example California Institute of Technology, Caltech, then University of Cambridge in UK, then the universities in China, in India, various places around the world. So this is from the PhD itself. So what I'm also highlighting means is, so when you do a research, for your research purpose, if you have developed some kind of Mickey Mouse simulator for your evaluating performance of your idea, you don't leave it there. You generalize it, make it nicer, and make it like a toolkit and share with the world. That may not be a core part of your PhD, but if you do that, that is a very good service to the community. Obviously, you will write a paper and publish it. Plus, so many people are using it, so that enhances impact of research. Okay, so this is an illustration of this slide that you see was created in 2002. So that is almost 19-20 years ago, and these were the users at that time. So wide variety of users. So this was, and what is the benefit of this? Now, because of this, now you have connection into these companies. This is very, very important for your own success and also success of people involved. Okay, so this is how, let us say, you end up getting a PhD, correct? So you end up getting PhD from whichever university. So next is what? What to do next? What to do? What after PhD? So there are many pathways for you. One obvious pathway is joining as an academic in university, the academic career. The second pathway can be pathway to join some industrial organization where you can do research and innovation. That means you have got two pathway. You need to have skills so that you can go either way or middle, whichever way. So it is very important that you have skills, not only theory skill, but also practical experimental skill to be able to build solutions and demonstrate their potential for the future. So in my case, what would I have done if I not done Melbourne University? So in my case, I actually had an offer from IBM, TJ Watson, to join them to and then lead a research. So why did they invite me? Because of the software and the impact. Okay, so this is what I would like you to think about, not just doing Mickey Mouse work, but also take some responsibility and put effort to make it more useful that others can benefit. So then you have multiple pathway for yourself, plus also you make impact. Okay, so of course in my case I was somehow more inclined towards doing in academic without driven by too much by commercial push. So that research, so I ended up joining Melbourne University, for example, in my case. So next in this research, so how did I move ahead with research? So first thing I did was when I joined Melbourne University, they didn't have any research group in parallel distributed computing or cloud, grid, whatever. They were not there. So therefore, I ended up starting from scratch, starting a research group, starting laboratory, starting even the subject, a brand new subject. I started cluster grid computing subject in 2002. Then meanwhile, I also developed collaboration with application scientists because I was into computer software technology. So this technology by itself may be of no use unless we demonstrate that through some real application. So therefore, we had to collaborate. So in my case, I collaborated with people from physics and others, and then develop software. In the process, so we also built a group. So because of this group, then the collaboration, then the clear agenda, then many people have joined as researchers to our lab. So who are those people? The students who were doing the students who were studying bachelor degree at Melbourne University. They joined me as a starting doing the small projects, which ended up publishing paper as well. Then we also started a dedicated master's degree in distributed computing, and this distributed computing today has close to 300 400 students taking this degree, so it's very good. Then plus because of our approach to not only publishing top class papers, I will talk about those papers soon. What is the process? That's what you want to hear. But I also want to set a scene. So because of that approach of building software, some of the softwares are used by so many companies, and there is a need for offering solutions that are that some of the commercial companies can use it. So that is how we ended up spin-off, building, creating startup companies like this Manjaro and then Meta CDN. So these are the two companies spin-off from our laboratory. Okay, so then obviously, as I said, so our team was also big. So here is the this was a photo taken I think in 2010. So the group members came from all over the world. So you can see just by looking at them, you can say where are they come from. So from different countries around the world. So all the way from Russia to China, India, various places. Sri Lanka, then also South America, like Brazil. Okay, so looks like somebody has access to the creating a disturbance. I think you should not even give rights to write anything on the screen. Debasis, anybody there?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're here.
So this, that writing, no, you disable rights to the white page, whatever.
Okay, surely, sir.
Whatever.
Surely. Thank you.
Somerjit, please enable. Yeah.
See, you can see that line.
Yeah, yeah.
So like this, we have to have a right control. You can see the people can disturb the activity. So people derive more pleasure in doing this. All right. So during this, so we had a very, one flagship project in our lab called Grid Bus at the time. So this Grid Bus developed, grid scheduling system. So this scheduling system for composing application deploying on remote supercomputers. That software is used by so many users around the world. You can see in drug discovery, Australian National Grid for molecular docking for drug discovery. So this was the so work we did. Let me unshare and share again so that it disappears. Okay, so So that is for a portal, a web-based portal for composing that application for drug discovery, like a docking for drug discovery. So this application, you can see, would have been very popular now. But similar model is what is in creating drug discovery for COVID-19, this whatever coronavirus. So that then other one is this high-energy physics experiments. So some of you heard about this high-energy physics large hadron collider experiment. So which discovered what we call God particle, Higgs boson. And so some of you probably know that this boson particle is called actually the name was named as a boson honoring Bose. So Bose was originally from Calcutta, I guess. Okay, means working in US. So like this, there are so many applications of the technology used by like automakers and then financial companies and then neuroscience so on. So this is so this approach I took. So yeah, that's how I embark into academic research with the team and building publication and so on. So soon I will give you the paper process. But before that, doing quality work is the most important. Paper publication is nothing but documentation. Okay. So now coming to research, how do you approach research? What topic to pursue? So of course, you can always do research on the topic that everybody knows already. Often, people are pursuing that for several years. So maybe that looks like a backwater research, old. So extensively explored by others. So now maybe outdated. So that is one way of doing, picking up a topic. The second one is use inspired research. Perhaps there is a problem, that is a usage, and we need to develop a solution for that problem. So if you develop a solution, that solution can be used by others. That is called use inspired. So you inspired by the real world usage. That is also a good approach. So or you can be forward looking, blue sky research. Blue sky means you just look 20 years down the line or 50 years down the line. Oh, what are the advances we need to make? So that is other called blue sky research. So if it is a use inspired, so how do we find problem? Easy. You can just look at the challenges faced in your own city, your own country, your own state, your own locality. So and then of course, even if there are already a existing solution, but the solutions are very expensive. So why don't you come out with a solution that is very cost effective and affordable? Okay, so that is called use inspired research. And here, of course, so you can work on an emerging research area. So if there is no emerging research area, perhaps you can invent one yourself. So that way you become a world leader in that area. So if somebody says who is the father of something, so they should point at you. Okay. So that is another approach. Then if you don't, or if you're not able to come out with such a brand new area, what can you do? You can perhaps look at the trends. And where do you look at? So for example, every year, so there is this company called Gartner. Gartner, they release a IT hype cycle for emerging technology every year. Every year during August, they release what are the key prominent hot topic issues that people are pursuing in industry and every year. So what are the hot issues? You can just look at that hype cycle and then pick up a research from there of that year. So also, of course, it is very important to make sure that you have outstanding foundation skills. So whatever may be research topic, you should have a very good skills in algorithms, good skills in programming languages, principles, and very good skills in resource management, scheduling, and algorithm. All these skills are very important, fundamental. So whatever may be research. Say, for example, even if you look at Anvesha, so they were doing earlier research on this sensor networks. So now there are IoT, now there are other things have come up, but they were able to quickly move from topic to topic because of that good skills in that area. Okay. Now I mentioned about Gartner IT hype cycle. Say, for example, if this was 2008, what do you do? So in 2008, if you are looking at this Gartner IT hype cycle, and you will notice here, so this is the hype cycle. Like there is some trigger, technology trigger, it goes all the way up, become very, very popular. So it becomes very, very popular area. So then that becomes a peak of expectation. Then after that, the popularity may decrease. Then it become part of the regular life. So here that is called innovation trigger. So this is the early phase. In 2008, where was cloud computing in this graph? So you can see here cloud computing was here. So just started. So this is the very beginning phase. So it was sort of 6 and 7 is something people they were talking about. We make grid computing research, and then it started getting popularity in 2008. So if you are someone started research in cloud computing in 2008, you are one of the early bird. Okay. So like you can take a look at some of the work in this direction. So whichever is of interest, for example, in my case, cloud computing. But for me, it was not any big deal because my PhD was in grid computing. The work that I was doing is pretty much like a cloud computing research anyway. Okay, so you can say grid computing, cloud computing is essentially a commercialization, realization of my PhD research. So therefore, it was easy for me to really jump into. But for other people who are interested in general parallel distributed system, you could have easily joined grid cloud computing research at that time, 2008. Okay, that was early on. Okay, then move ahead another 4 years. If it was 2012, what happens? The same cloud computing that we talked about. In 2007-8, it was in the beginning phase, but you can see within 4 years, in 2012, it came to this point. So that means still popular, but by that time, 8 to 12, 9, 10, 11, in 4 years' time, so much of work happened, so much of contribution, some common solution came into picture, but still it is popular. Even now also it is popular, but there are always challenges. But I'm talking about low hanging and early area. So that was a time. So that is, you can see this 2012 is here. Now, then 12 to 17, let's say 2017, what were the popular? So you can see the 2017 got a hype cycle, edge computing. So here in the beginning phase, why it is so popular? So this IoT Internet of Things area, Internet of Things started becoming more and more realistic, and then there was a need for a little different model of computing that not only uses cloud but also uses resources at the edge networks. Thereby, you can provide real-time IoT services. Okay, so that was a time to really start. Then of course now 2020 still edge computing is the most popular research because it is still more at the top. Okay, then come to 2020 last year, 2020 2021 they will release this kind of hype cycle for emerging technologies in August month. So every year August month. Okay, so this was August 2020. So in August 2020, you can see the more and more all these hype things are mostly in the context of AI, not generic AI, but applying AI for different problem. Something called you can see, for example, like AI pass, and then responsible AI, explorative AI, various kinds of AI application. Then also more importantly, August 2020. So there was a huge push about all the social distancing technologies. Why? Because of this COVID-19. See, that virus came. So there was no drug. So what do? Perhaps at least we first you can fully isolate, but we still fully isolating is not possible. But maintaining a social distancing, thereby this virus won't jump from one person to another person. So this social distancing technology is very popular. So any of you who have done research on this, social distancing using IoT or some and then managing it, so that it become very popular. Okay, that was last year. And you can see, so this social distancing research, it has the solution needed within 1 2 year. You can't within 6 months, for example, you can't. So this kind of research cannot be done for a year, 10 year. Correct? This COVID will disappear after maybe soon. Correct? So your research will be not useful. So, but if you produce results within no time, within 3 4 months, that will become popular. Anyway, so I think 2020 was more of all that you do in the context of COVID-19. So that's what happened. But you need to. So these are the areas to look into. For anyone to jump into this area, or you have certain expertise. You can think of how can you put your expertise in the context of these emerging problem areas and the topic area. And what is good about it? So when you write a papers in this area, there are hardly any research papers. So therefore, whatever you do is almost first. That's number one, low hanging fruits. Say, for example, if you want to eat a mango, correct? So if you go to any field, outside Calcutta, in city, you don't find mango trees. But if you go towards, for example, Mayapur, there are so many mango trees. You want to, eat a mango during, say, March, April. You don't need to climb a tree. Just standing, you can pluck one. Low hanging fruits. Similar in research also. If you are early into the topic area and if you do a good job, it's very easy to publish because they are not money related work. Whatever you do is a contribution. So this is what I want to highlight. So as a researcher, it is not just about adding paper. It is about picking up a right topic at right time. Correct? This is very, very important. So very, very important in any area. So at right time. Okay, so that is all about picking topic and setting a scene. So therefore, all of you are now in 2021, and if you are thinking of doing PhD or whatever, even if you're doing research, and if you want to put your work in the context and you want to be impactful and well-known research in this area, pick up that. This is very important. Also, if you are applying for a grant, see if you are applying for a grant, for example, in case of cloud computing area. So if you write a research proposal in say 2009 or 10, it is very easy to get a grant. But if you write that in 2020, it be difficult because people say, oh, so much has already happened. So you have to be very, very well versed in choosing a right topic. So therefore, so it is very, very important. Okay, so now with this already comes to publication. Okay, so let me so keeping that in mind, 2008, 2010, 2000 like 13, edge computing, then IoT, they were popular at that time. Okay, so in that context, what did I do? Soon I will tell you what kind of papers to write and how to write. So first, when the topic is just emerging, and if you are a key leader, we have a real vision. What should you do? You should immediately write a nice vision paper and be the first one to publish. Okay, so here is the article that we put together in grid computing, cloud computing, the vision and the direction for the field and how to make computing as the fifth utility. This is vision paper. So this was first written in 2008. You can see. It just commercially this Gartner recognized prominently in 2009, but in 2008 we put together a plan. Okay, so be a leader in the field and is published, and so as a result, so this paper has received very good recognition. And you can see, so whatever you do early, and that is highlighted here. So this cloud computing vision paper actually written in 2008 but published in 2009. So you can see already 7,800 citations it received. And more than even like looking at IoT, Internet of Things. So this it appeared in a graph that Gartner have cycled in 2012. But in 2013, we already published a IoT vision paper. So right now it has got 11,000 citation. So what it is not about just citation. What it means is you are offering a direction to the field. So a lot of people who are working in this area, they need a direction. What is the aspect? What is the architecture? What is the challenges? What are the early works? So in this paper, it is not just vision paper, that also has a initial prototype work. So we built an initial simple system to demonstrate the potential of this technology, this area, and what is the open direction, what is the challenges. So this way people will have a confidence in the work. Okay, I hope this is clear. So this is, that means vision paper is one of the type of paper you can do. Plus, if you are someone want to do some commercialization, if you are someone who build a software technology, correct? So in my case, we were building software system. We wanted to release, so we developed one software called NECA, and we commercially released that software, mandrasoft.com, through started a spin up a company, and then that is made available. So you can see, and of course, this is as part of this, we have also put together a patent also. I'll come to that point. What is the difference between patent and research papers? Okay, so that is the way. So in any new topic, you have to be timely. This is very, very important at that time. So for example, if I write a vision paper on cloud computing today, no one will read it. Correct? Unless I am giving some new manifesto. But it's very important to pick up right topic. Okay, so now we discuss about how to pick up research topic, the PhD process, and so on. So now based on this experience, let me discuss about how to improve the publication and their impact. Okay, and what are the elements? What is the process that undergoes in publishing a paper? We'll discuss that, and also we'll discuss about some of the lessons learned in the process. Okay, this publication. What is this publication? Is publication is nothing but a joy of sharing your outcome with others. Okay, so you did something unique work, and you want to share that your unique skills, unique work in the by putting together nice documentation and putting in effort. So that is the process I actually followed. You can call it as a research, you can call it innovation, you can call it sharing with things. You can see during engineering what was done. And so at that time, since if you want to do assembly language programming, x86 programming on PCs, what were available is only manual. So manual is not easy for most people to use. So we need to have a textbook. So this is a book. Then all the way you can come here right time. Each of those are published at right time. So for example, this cloud computing, this book was published in 2008 or 9. Okay. And then publish a real textbook. Initially more of a research book, then as a textbook, this mastering cloud computing. Then you go on, you can see edge computing, a year ago, 2 years ago, 2020. So edge computing book. So you can see these are different type of books, but these are books that shows you forefront of the field. Okay. And in a timely manner. So this is one of the thing you need to do. So one can always write a textbook, but you can be leader in the field by publishing early, either a paper or a research. So now coming to this publication, why publish? Especially if you're in academia, publication is very, very important, because they say publish or perish. Correct? If you don't publish, you will perish. Perish means you won't get promotion, maybe demoted, or maybe terminated also. Okay. So especially if you are in a international universities where regularly every year demonstrating your performance is measured based on your research output. So you might say you did a good research, that's okay, but you also need to document the research. So this publication is nothing but documentation of your research in a systematic manner. Okay, so publish or perish. So therefore we need to publish. So this is a photo of Einstein. Even he also published his papers. So why publish? As I said, so the every organization, research organization, expect you to be at forefront of your field. And how do you demonstrate that you are at the forefront? You do that by publishing, your research papers and articles. Okay, so that is by publishing, and publishing means you are actually communicating your outcomes to others. Okay, and what you publish can be theoretical research or experimental research, empirical research. Okay, so there are people in, for example, mathematical oriented, so they may tend to just write a theory oriented papers. They may not have a software, they may not have a solution directly that you can apply to a problem today, but they will do a theoretical research. Doesn't matter whether theory or practice, so you can put together and publish. And also please note, publishing in a timely manner is very, very important. If you do research today and did all the work, but if you try to publish after 4 years, it probably has not much value. Okay, so this is very, very important. And also when you write a paper, so you need to publish as soon as possible. If it takes too long, so it is, people will say, hey, similar work is already done, what is new about it? So they will just reject it. So therefore I compare the moment you write a paper, this is like you prepared a meal, correct? And the value of meal diminishes with time, correct? You have a time axis and the value. So if you prepared one thali, the people are willing to pay for it, say 200 rupees for the thali the moment you prepare. But if it delays, for example, you prepare thali in the morning, you want to sell it in the morning, evening. So if it is evening, then it may be not that tasty. Therefore, people won't give you 200 rupees. Maybe they'll give you 50 rupees, correct? And then you're not able to sell it even evening. So you just try to keep it maybe 3 days. If you give 3 days, who will eat? Correct? So no one want to eat. Even if you want to give it to beggars, they won't take it. You throw it to dogs, they will not take it also. They will also refuse. And it becomes source of problem. Correct? So similar problem with papers also. So it's very important that as much as possible. So that is why it is your responsibility to put together paper nicely, write nicely, cover all the element nicely, make it easy to read, easy to understand, with clear explanation. What is your contribution? What is innovation? These are very, very important. Some of these points are already, I believe, others have discussed. But what I want to highlight is that timeliness is very important in research and also in their publication, especially research papers. Okay, and if you have done some unique work and then you waited for 3 days, 3 years or 4 years, what happens? Somebody else might have already published the same idea. So it's very common. They may not know about your work, but they have done it and they see that there are no such relevant papers, they publish it. So it is very important that we publish, otherwise so it become outdated. Then of course, just publishing is not enough. Now if you join many governments, you can see they are saying publish or perish is just old idea. They are saying publish, they are saying patent and prosper. That is patent, publish and prosper. That means they are expecting, the governments are these days expecting you to provide a value for money. And you probably noticed even every country in Australia or even in India, during last few years, for example, Modi government. So they are providing funding to IITs and few others, but with the expectation that they actually create commercialization, innovation, commercialization. So thereby those institutes sort of become more self-sustained. Okay, even in Australia also they ask, what is the value for money? Okay, we give it to you. You might just write a paper. What is the use? But you also need to create some commercial impact. The governments are changing the model constantly. So right now in Australia, that is the focus. Even in India also, and also they are putting more and more funding towards innovative and commercial level research than theoretical research. Okay, so therefore, as researchers, you also need to think of these aspects. So as I said, even as a result of the government policy change, the universities also changed. For example, in Melbourne University, we used to have a division called Melbourne Research Office. What do? These people research office, coordinating university funding and also coordinating investment of the university in different research area. But the same, that research office, now they renamed themselves as a Melbourne Research, Innovation and Commercialization Office. They call RIC, RIC, Research, Innovation and Commercialization. The university itself. So now if I say funding, they're asking, what is the impact? Why should we fund you? Correct? Why should we even give you a PhD scholarship? So everybody has to make more innovation oriented, possibly something that commercializable as well. Okay, or you do a research in multiple phases. Okay, here is something for 2-year research, and next you have to show innovation, next you have to show commercialization. Okay, and then so this patent that we talk about, patent is actually nothing but almost like a paper idea. So the thing much, but the patent can give you, ability in protecting the idea and your ownership. So what is the value of patent? Often it is zero, no value, unless you go and start up a company. So that patent will become more of your shield, like a weapon that you can protecting your idea. If somebody try to copy, you can sue them. Okay, or sometime it can be quite a bit of value. Like 30 years ago or so, this CSR in Australia, they did one work on Wi-Fi, and they had a patent. This Wi-Fi become popularity in terms of commercialization usage only last 10 years or so. But these guys have done 25, 30 years ago, and they had a patent. So then this CSR is like CSR in India, equivalent. Here, this is a Commonwealth, this Australian government scientific research organization. So these people commercialize, but the patent was there. So after 15 years, they see that every company, IBM, Microsoft, Nokia, everyone start moving into this Wi-Fi, wireless networks. So then they can see that everybody is using this idea. So this CSR went and sued all of them. Then I think they collected more than close to $500 million royalty. So these can also be possible, but this is a very long route. But idea is if you are patenting, especially if you are going to do commercialization, otherwise it is no use. Or your research office can create a lot of patent and licenses to other companies, especially if it is useful. Okay. So, now, like you have written a paper, you joined university like Makaut or IIT Delhi or IIT Kharagpur or wherever you are working. So even the way people are promoted is changing. So earlier, so with time you can see during last 50 years, the criteria for promoting researcher is changing. Promoting like your lecturer to senior lecturer, assistant professor, whatever. This promotion within academic layer. So around 30-40 years ago, so if you want a promotion, how do you do it? You put together application and enclose your research paper. You might have published some 3 paper in your that at the time you send it. So the academic committee will read your papers, and based on that they will decide whether to promote you or not. And then of course after that, earlier, because people used to write just 1 or 2 paper during their assistant professorship, so that was easy. But nowadays, during assistant professor 6 year, people are publishing so many papers, 60 papers. Who will read 60 papers? Nobody. Correct? So tenure committee cannot read, promotion committee cannot read 60 papers for each person. What do? They start counting how many pages. So one who has published lots of papers, lots of pages, that fellow will be promoted. So that is what happened after that. Okay, number of pages, how big your page is. So maybe 50-page article versus 8-page article. Then after that, they started counting number of papers you publish. Okay, so that is what happened up to last 10 year, a year or so. So then now everybody is publishing so many papers. So there is no more specialty. Correct? Everyone goes with 100 paper. So how do you promote? Whom do you promote? Everyone has 100 papers. Very difficult. Then they start saying, hey, we look at citation. We don't care about number of papers. Tell us about your citation. How many citations you attracted? What is your H index? So right now these are very popular. If you are applying for a promotion, if you show that I am highly cited or my work is the best cited in West Bengal, correct? So then my H index is best in West Bengal, then they will promote you more easily. Okay. So plus also these days they're also looking at where did you publish, not just citation. So is it top ranked conference, top ranked journal? Okay. Then these days they're also looking at the money, how much money you brought, and what is the impact of that money. Have you done commercialization? So you can see here the criteria for promotion also keep changing. That means you have to be not only a great researcher, but also a researcher who will make their outcomes useful to others. The moment you make your outcome useful to others, then so that becomes more important parameters. Okay. Anyway, so coming to publication, back to publication, there are many types of publication you all already know. So here's a big list of publication types, starting from patent. Patent is a form of publication. Then the books, book chapter, journal paper, magazine paper. There are so many type of articles you can publish, and each one of them have their own value and advantages. You can publish vision paper, research paper. You can publish in magazine. You can publish in journals. So depending upon where you publish, they have their own appeal. If you publish in magazine, the magazines are read by a large number of people. For example, if you publish in IEEE computer magazine, the moment you publish, that magazine paper goes to 150,000 people. That means the area need to be written in such a way that it's accessible to a large number of people. But usually magazine papers are published not in the early phase. So let's say you do quite a bit of research and you've done a lot of contribution, then you can put together a magazine paper so that you can convey your ideas that you did during last 4-5 years to the large number of audience. Okay, so you can publish once in a while magazine paper also. Okay, so these are the different type of publication. And where do you publish?
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Yeah. When it means, what kind of actually expectation from these magazines? From when it means, is it future scope or anything?
Expectation from?
for these magazine papers, especially magazine.
Okay. Yes. So magazine papers first, they need to be written in such a way that they are easy to read. Like for example, let us say if I write a paper on say edge computing for IEEE computer magazine, the paper should not be like a research paper with lot of formulas, this and that. This should be easy to explain, easy to understand by everybody in the computer science area. Yeah, and then generally they are written after progression of the research, not the day it is progress. They started. Okay, so like 2-3 year that area has progressed, and then based on that a nice article can be written. Yeah. So sometime one vision paper can also be written, but it needs to be written in such a way that easy to understand by everybody. If I write a paper for a conference or a journal, it is very theoretical. Maybe only people working in this area can understand. But if you write the same thing in magazine, everybody can understand. Yeah, so very high level, very easy to read, understand. And you can see my website. If you glance at magazine papers, and you will see that they are very easy to read. And in fact, the magazine itself, magazine has a copywriters, they edit the content. If it is accepted, they make it edit and change the language in such a way that it is easy to understand by everybody. The language of researcher is very different. So when you write a patent application, you write a paper and give it to patent lawyer. The patent lawyer can convert your language into patent style. Correct? Similarly, the magazine also different. Yeah. And then
I
also,
have a question.
yes.
Sir, in this slide, types of publication, as we have envisaged different types of articles. So can you please shed some light over the weightage actually? What are the significance of each, like magazine papers or journal papers?
Okay. All right. So if you apply for a grant, research grant, for example, okay, so like Astra Research Council, so they definitely give good weightage to the book. Means not all the books. Usually, for example, if you have got 100 research paper, maybe you got 1 or 2 books. Okay, the book carries more weightage, and then edited books. Then book chapter, then journal papers, then conference paper. You can only show those the book chapter, journal paper, conference paper. That's all. So order is book is high order, high weightage, because how many books you can write? If you work full time, maybe 1 year you can write 1 book. Correct?
Yes, yes.
That's why, and you can write too many anyway.
Yes,
so especially they ask you to list publication in your grant research area.
Correct.
So you might have just 1 book. Then you will have a couple of book chapters. Then you will have lots of conference paper, lots of journal papers. So then also not only that, in terms of the value, for example, in Australia, the government has some block of money. They distribute that block of money to universities. How do they distribute? Based on the publication. So every university will say, oh, our researchers published 50 books and 20 book chapters, 1,000 journal papers, and 2,000 conference paper. Like this, every university goes to the government. The government has a pool of money, $1 billion, correct?
Right.
And they distribute to them based on that their weightage. Okay. So, for example, at one point, the journal paper used to fetch $5,000 for universities at one point. Now it is 3,000 only, because too many people are publishing. The pool of money is same, but number of papers increase. So what happens? The money you get is less. So which is what happening. I hope I answered that question.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
So essentially, the book chapter, journal paper, then conference paper. Okay. So also, it is not just book. Where did you publish is also important. It's not the conference paper. Where did you publish is also important. Okay. If it is a book, if it is published by like for example Wiley, Pentesal, Elsevier, so they carry generally more weightage compared to a book published by, for example, Calcutta Press. Correct? I'm sure there will be one press like that, Calcutta Press or a Bengal Press or some press, local publisher, versus the book published by like Prentice Hall. So because when you publish by Prentice Hall, they go through lots of quality parameters. Plus that book, is distributed all over the world. You have international impact. Okay, that is regarding book. Then the
Can
journal
we assess
papers.
this? Can we assess this demarcations between like Wiley, Prentice Hall, and etc. Some dissemination, how it is significant from others. Prentice Hall is better than Springer or like that. Any hallmarks are there to determine?
Yes, correct. If the book is well written and most earlier one, and book comes with nice support material, so then the book will have a huge adoption all over the world. See, for example, that high performance cluster computing book that I published in 1998. So that book is published by Prentice Hall. Prentice Hall was like a gold standard at that time. So this Prentice Hall, that book, is adopted by so many universities, including Stanford University, University of California, Indian Institute of Science. Correct? See, I may not have a qualification to enter into those university, but my books had a qualification to enter into the university. You got it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I
Yes,
didn't get admission into Indian Institute of Science, but my book is followed as a textbook in MTech Computer Science in Indian Institute of Science. That was recommended by then Deputy Director of Indian Institute of Science. Correct? So
Correct,
therefore, it is not that you enter, but your book, your output is entering there. That's important. Then the University of California, Berkeley. Correct? So
Yes,
their textbook, this our book is their textbook. So that is what. So if you are able to present that your book is not any other book, the book that adapted with the evidence if you provide, obviously,
Mhm.
so that carries a huge impact and weightage in your promotion in everywhere. And then this, for example, the C++ book, Mastering C++ book published by McGraw-Hill in India. So that book, why is it so important? First, so that is like a national language. So everyone who is teaching C++ in India, they use that book. You go to any company who doing all this product, they use C++ language, the book is there. Correct? So every year they sell minimum 10,000 copies. Every year. 10,000 copies per year. So that shows its impact. So that is what we need to do. Okay. So that is that's what I'm highlighting. That, and also why is that people are adopting? There are lots of books are there in C++ in the market, but why this book? So book has to be written in such a way that very easy to follow, with the right approach, right example, with right case studies. So if it is done very well, people will adopt it. Otherwise, no. So it is just yet another book. So this is for example, who is prominent? Like if you go to film industry, to make one film, it takes so many people. Why film industry? Let's go to cricket. Cricket. In cricket area, how many people are playing for the national? How many members are there in the team? 12. 12 or 13. But how many people are aspiring? If you come to Kolkata, every street people are playing cricket. All the kids are playing, elders are playing, everyone is playing. But only 12, top 12 are in the national. Among those 12, only one, that Kolkata guy became a captain. What is his name?
Saurabh
Saurabh
Ganguly.
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 You got it? So
Dada.
now, what is the value of cricket? It depends. So if you become a captain of the country's cricket team, not a captain, the captain who can win World Cup. Otherwise, there are so many captain came and gone, but the captain that we help win the team. So those people valued a lot. So as a result, whenever you go to Ganguly is advertising so many things. Correct? He's advertising cement, he's advertising so many things. As a result, he's making a lot of money, made a lot of money anyway. Correct? So that's the impact. Anyway, similarly, the books and journals also. Journals you need to publish in a top class journals. So they carry a lot of weightage. For example, in Australia, those of you who are looking for a ranking of conferences and journals in computer science, please take a look at Australian ranking. So it is globally accepted. So just in 2021, they again released the ranking. But anyway, so ranking like A star, A, B, C, D, like multiple. So if you are able to publish in A or A star, so that's very good. So they are very reasonably high class, journals. And then highly ranked. Of course, as I said earlier, ultimately, what matters is content, timeliness, and how well it is issued. So also don't get obsessed. So every paper that is published in A star doesn't mean there is a great work. Okay. So there are, because sometimes paper get published due to many factors, including luck. Correct. So you might have not published in A star, but you might have published in ERB, but your paper is followed by everyone. Correct. So that is more important. So this is just like, for example, say person like Mamata Banerjee. Correct. So she is also one living entity. And there are other people, somebody in Australia also. Correct. That fellow is a beggar. So we cannot say that just because this person is in Australia is more prominent than Mamata Banerjee. Correct. So therefore, it is not the place. It is the quality of the person, the talent of that person, the contribution of their work. So yes, it is good to publish in a highly ranked one, recommended, but we cannot, undermine or ignore some great work published in low ranked place also. Is it clear? That's what I'm highlighting. So timeliness, the content. So therefore, the content and the impact is most important than the place. But if you are in a good place, it becomes more easier. Correct. So every person who graduates from IIT versus who graduates from Macaut or WBT, correct? There are, yes, if you graduate from IIT Kargapur, you have some value, but there are graduates from Jadavpur University or from WBT who have, some of them have done great work, great impact than those who graduated from IIT Kargapur. You got it? Yeah. So yes, but anyway, so it is a good idea to look at publish in good rank place as much as possible. Then the timeliness, as I said, timeliness is very important. So here is an example. We already mentioned about these two papers, this cloud computing and IoT, this vision papers. So this vision paper was written in 2008 and published in 2009. Because of that, there is a high citation, high impact. Citation means what? Some people have read it and they are using its idea in their work. For example, this cloud computing paper, the vision paper was referenced by IBM. When IBM was planning to enter into the cloud computing area, their IBM, the plan had reference to this paper. That means this paper is able to influence solutions of IBM. So
Sir, may I
therefore,
ask one question? This is PK Paul speaking from West Bengal. May I ask one question?
Yes, yes, tell me.
Sir, I am telling that is the vision paper is related with the policy papers, because the policy papers also tell us policy. So you told the cloud computing, and this paper is also kind of policy paper as you written that time, can be
yes,
considered.
you mean the quality?
No, may I consider this paper also as a policy paper? Means,
Yes, of course. That is why if it is very badly written, there is nothing in it. Nobody reads it.
Okay. So policy, this kind of paper can be also called as a policy paper, right, sir?
Yeah, but this is not about policy. See, if it is a policy, generally they say, they generally tend to explain. So this is the way to invest money. Yes, if you write a like similar article for the Australian government, where I would say, oh, this is very important area emerging, so the government need to invest like this. That is the policy paper. So, but yes, some people write a policy paper as well. Like for example, supercomputing in 1980, when supercomputers were denied to India. So this Vijay Bhatkar, so he went ahead and then put together a policy paper to the Rajiv Gandhi government at the time, then how they should invest and then build Indian supercomputers. Correct. So that is a policy paper. So that is a Vijay Bhatkar, people call father of Indian supercomputers.
Okay,
Correct.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So yes, you can, it depends upon how you look at it, but this didn't take a approach of policy, but this give a nice architecture vision. Yeah, from IBM perspective, yes, it is a driver for them. So it is influence their policy on their product development. Yeah. So, but it is not about this paper inside content is not, it's a technical paper is actually. So I took a technical approach. And then coming to the same thing, IoT. So this was published in 2013. Then 2013, the Gartner itself is saying in the early phase. But by that time, we already did the initial work and then put together a vision, put together a plan, put together early results, put together direction and publish. And as a result, since then, so many people are working in this area. And as a result, you can see it attracted 11,000 plus citation. So this timeliness is very important. And if I write the same thing today, maybe it is possible, but I can look into the direction for the next. Okay, so much has happened in IoT. What to do next 10 year? If you write something like that, is also valuable. Yeah. Okay. So now coming to research papers. So just mere paper is of no use. So here is a concept of paper plus plus. So what is paper plus plus? Along with the paper, if you are able to the software that you created and you are able to extend, I mean, release that software, maintain it, develop a manual with some useful case studies and share with the world. And a lot of people start using your software in their research. That is paper plus plus. That is also valuable. And here is an example of CloudSIM. Let me turn on the light. Okay, so this CloudSIM software. So we have written a research paper on simulator and why, what is the architecture challenges. Why was this done? Because at that time when cloud computing actually started in 2008-9, there were no such software. People to so now we written a vision paper, and people want to pursue this research. They need a tool to help. They have idea and they want to quickly model and simulate. So for that they need a tool. So that is what we did. We developed a simulator for our own use. Then after that, we made that into a open source software and wrote a paper on it and share that software with everybody else with example, manual, and continue to extend and help everyone to use it. So as a result, thousands of organizations around the world are using the software. Researchers, students, and and the companies like IBM, HP, Ericsson, and Huawei, and so many companies around the world have used this CloudSIM in building their solution. So, for example, Ericsson. Why Ericsson use CloudSIM? Ericsson is a company in wireless networks, but they also want to create a cloud data center solutions, delivering solutions services through wireless. So for that purpose, they did their own work before they build a practical systems. So you can just search for Ericsson, comma CloudSIM, comma Stanford. 3 keywords: Stanford, Ericsson, then CloudSIM. You will come across a paper presentation given by CTO of Ericsson at Stanford University. He's talking about how they use CloudSIM in their product planning. Okay, so that is CloudSIM, and another one is algorithm. So we developed the algorithm for ranking cloud services. Okay, so this algorithm is adopted by Cloud Service Measurement Index Consortium. So in this work we did along with our industry partner, CA, Computer Associates. So this was adopted. As a result, huge number of people are using, and then not only that, so many people are also doing newer work, and they are referring to it. So this also huge popularity. Okay, and you can see numerous people, companies, and so on who are benefited from this. So you can also develop algorithm. You can develop a simulator. You can develop algorithm, different kind of things. Yeah. So you can also develop a product. So this Aneka Clouds, Aneka, commercialized through Microsoft. So Aneka is a cloud application platform, a software people can use to build cloud application. CloudSIM is a software that they can use for simulating, only used by researchers. Whereas this ranking algorithm is just an algorithm. We don't have a product for it, just algorithm. We give algorithm. Anybody can use this algorithm in ranking cloud services. Why this is necessary? Because there are so many cloud service providers, and you want to rank them based on some criteria before you choose them. You need algorithm. So this algorithm that people use it. So I'm just highlighting that you need to have a diversity. Okay. So let us say, okay, so that's all about research, work, and paper plus plus, then the value and so on. Okay, you have done research, you have written a paper. What is the process of publication? And this is something all of you know. but I want to highlight, share from my with my experience in different roles, including as an author, as a reviewer, as a associator, as editor-in-chief. Okay, the process that undergoes. Step number 1, you do research, correct? It may be experimental research, observational research, theoretical research, whatever the research you did. Then obviously you produce results, then you write a paper. What do you do with the paper? You submit to a journal. What happens? So it goes to journal editor. So journal editor looks at this paper. He will try to see, is it worth, is this paper useful? Is it within the scope of journal? Is it well written? If it is yes, it goes to next phase. Otherwise, they will return back. Desk reject. They reject the desk. I'm sure some of you have experienced this. When you submit a paper to journal, they may desk reject. If it is not to the quality, not to the scope or expectation, they will reject it. So first instance only. That is the door. At the door, the editor-in-chief and editor job is that. So if it is all good, what do? They send it to other researchers working in similar area or same area, which we call it as a peer review. Correct? That's a peer review. So all these people, 3, 4, 5, whatever, they review it and they give you feedback and also along with the recommendation and goes to the editor. So now editor, what can editor do? So editor will look at it. Then either he will say reject along with based on review recommendation, or he might say major revision, or he might say reject and resubmit. Rejected it, but you revise the paper fully according to the reviewers and resubmit back, then we will see. Okay. So let's say then if they give a major revision, you again maybe conduct more experiment and refine the paper and resubmit. This goes on until it become minor and accept. Okay. So if you are lucky, you'll get accepted. Otherwise, it can get rejected. So these peer reviewers are varieties. Some peer reviewers are very kind, no problem, accept more softer. Some are biased, some are competitors, correct? All kinds of we don't know because they are all anonymous and they are hidden behind the journal curtain. So we don't know who they are. But anyway, you can see here. So all the way from writing a paper to submit. So you can see these are peer reviewers. They are holding all kinds of sword, correct? Some may be holding simple stick, some may be holding, you can see very different type of weapons. So if you can somehow manage to succeed, your paper get accepted. And this is especially with the top class journals, they do generally good top class process. If the publication is the only aim, you can always publish. There are so many papers, journals are there. So these days you publish, submit today, and they say they did some peer review and they accept tomorrow and publish day after tomorrow. Correct? Such journals also are there. But I'm talking about quality journals, high class, high standard journals. Okay. So of course, in the process, if one of the reviewer is very unfair and not really right. So if you can notice that, then if you inform the editor that this editor is reviewer is really, you can see you keep talking different things each time you revise. That means he is not interested in accepting paper, but he's playing a game. So if you ask the editor, generally they can change that reviewer. Okay, if you go with the right explanation, just write directly to the editor so they can accept. Okay, so that is the process on publication. So that's something all of you know, so I don't want to highlight too much there. Then coming to research ethics and integrity. So this is something, so to ensure that your paper is integrity ethics is followed. So make sure that if you have taken some statements in your paper that you're writing, so you credit the source, very important. Okay, so don't claim everything that is yours. If you have taken some statements, just put a citation. So this is very important. This is part of the writing paper. process. And if you don't do that, then that becomes a source of rejection. Not only rejection, they can ban you also. In IEEE, for example, you submit and a block of text, some statements are copied from somewhere else and you are not cited, you submit IEEE, they catch you, then they'll say, oh, they not only reject, they will ban you for submitting paper to IEEE, for example. Correct? So it's very important to cite sources and also keep record of data sources. So, and also, if there are any copies, check this plagiarism and make sure that you don't have too much of relevance from other places. This is important. I think there is a dedicated day for this kind of stuff. I don't need to talk much about, but this is very important. And also correct authorship. So make sure that authorship are given correctly. Also, I recommend that you don't have any honorary authors. The people who don't contribute anything to the paper, idea or improvement, presentation, anything. So don't put. Yeah. So then of course acknowledge appropriately. If some people have helped with the research, did something in data collection or whatever, they are not author, but you can acknowledge them in the paper. So thank them for whatever survey they did. Okay. So these are something all of you should be knowing, but keep that in mind. Okay. So that is all. So now let me summarize a few points that we discuss as guidance. So so please note that writing and publishing paper is very fundamental, but it is not sufficient. So that means along with your paper, it is always better if you are looking for high impact, some associated software. Then paper become paper plus plus. Okay. Usually the paper plus plus are more popular. Plus you also know that paper plus takes lot of effort. For example, CloudSim, we publish that paper, but after that we release several versions of CloudSim. Right now we have CloudSim 5.0, 5th edition. Every 2 years we release new version. Although we didn't write newer paper for it, but we develop new features. We publish those new unique aspect paper, but as a standard CloudSim is still there. So every year, although we updating. Now 5.0. That means you can see during last 10 years, continuous upgradation, continuous maintenance is necessary for it to be successful. And so many people around the world have used this and developed so many modules around it for different aspects of cloud computing. They themselves release that software separately along with CloudSim. So that's an example. Then the next, you also need to work with potential users, especially if you're doing a practical tool. So interdisciplinary. For example, our Aneka software or CloudBus or GridBus resource broker. So that software research, although the computer science research, we did along with medical researchers and also physics researchers. So we took requirement into consideration, develop that system, not only publish in paper, but develop software and demonstrated its usefulness to medical application and physics application. As a result, the medical people are happy, medical community is using the software and physics community using software, and the Daimler, Chrysler, like automakers are using software. You can see, so that is interdisciplinary work. Yes, that is also a bit of effort because you need to learn about what these physical medical people want to do. You have to learn, you have to put some extra steps to do that. So of course, once you develop that, you release the software either in open source or commercial, then support the community. Then obviously, if you do all of this, you'll be able to present talks at conferences and various places, and you'll also be able to do collaborative R&D with companies. Like in our case, because of the success of the software, the company that are using, they did collaborative research with us. And they not only funded our research, but also, collaborated, and we did a joint papers. That, for example, with CA Computer Associates, that ranking of one CA was very happy. Like that, we did with Oracle, Sun Microsystem, IBM, because these companies, what they want to do is they want to develop product and solution in that area. Before they do it, they want to see how well their computing system can be useful to the next generation technology. So they want to work with you like that. Then of course, apart from papers, you can write books and magazines if you've got time. Okay, so that is some of the lesson learned. And I also prepared like 7 tips for enhancing impact of research visibility. This is not about research, it's about impacting, it's about enhancing visibility of your research. So this article is there, you can go through. So these are just simple tips. To some extent you already know, but before to highlight, so usually when you write a research paper, sometimes they may take time to publish. You can always publish that as a early technical report just for internal use. Before you submit to the actual publication, you can seek comments from colleagues on early draft, solidify and then submit. Then of course, if you present a talk, share your PPT also. If you publish a conference paper, so not only sharing your paper, but also share the slides. Okay. So then also maintain a registry of research. So if you are very new to this area, I mean, if the area is very new, then you can create a research directory listing who are the people working in this area. So let me give an example. So here, say for example, grid computing. In 2002, actually 2001, at that time this was just getting popular. So I put together something called this Grid Computing Information Center. So at that time in 2012, or even before, like I know why this is happening. Yeah. Say for example, in 1995, so this cluster computing information center I put together. So and here, so I shared links to all kinds of software and research things for the benefit of people. So everybody use this around the world as information center. So like that you can do in your own area. Yeah, if you build up such an information center, so people like it. So this is the community service. So there is a small article on this. You can read it. So this is almost I'm coming to conclusion. So just recently, I put together a strategy for advancing research impact in new emerging area, new computing paradigms. So if some area is very new, what to do? Okay, based on my experience, I put together this 10 points, and there's article on it. You can access this article. So basically what it's saying is, if there is some new computing paradigm, new area, brand new area, say for example, let's say quantum computing, the brand new area. So you conduct initial research, do some very nice survey and direction paper, develop a simulator, develop a software, do a book, then collaboration. All these points I already in a way covered. So this is summary. This article you can read it. So yeah, it's very easy. Say for example, just pick up this the title, copy, then go to search engine, just search. So you can see this article we just posted. So that describes this, and that also gives you a case study on why do this such a thing in certain way. So you can read it. So this one sense I've already covered this point in some or the other. So you can go through. Okay. So then later on, I also included a so for example. So this case study of the case study on cloud computing research, how we applied all those points that we covered. That's all discussed here. Okay. So, but I already covered in one sense. So if you read this article, you will get clear summary. Okay. So Then, so with that, let me conclude. So as a conclusion, so as a researcher, so you face a lot of challenges. Usually people, what they see is like this success at the top, correct? So most people don't see the, there's like iceberg floating in a ocean. So what people see is success, correct? But most people don't see this underneath what is happening. So there is so much of hard work necessary, and in spite of that, this out success is not guaranteed. So therefore, you need to be Atmaram. Atmaram means one who is self-satisfied. Whether you get success or not, you do your research for your own pleasure, I mean your own personal desire to contribute to the advancement of knowledge. And it may take more time to get success, correct? So of course, some people are lucky. They do little bit things and they succeed very quickly. But other people have to work very, very hard. Okay. So you can see here. So a lot of persistence is necessary. So a lot of things fail. So for example, do not assume that you write paper and like for example, in my case, don't assume that whatever paper I write, everything is accepted. No, we also have a lot of rejection. Okay. And we have to be very patiently address and then work. Then a lot of dedication necessary and hard work is necessary. So good work habits are necessary to achieve the success. So Atmaram is very, very important. Okay. So you need to be self-satisfied. So there is something keep in mind. Okay. To conclude, so research is exciting, but you need to, as I said, you need to be self-motivated. You need to be very persistent, very courageous. A lot of risk is involved. Then, of course, in kind of academic research, so people expect you to have to be like a universal person, correct? So you need to be like a magnet, attracting all the necessary elements, including students, funding. You are like investor, so you invest your personal time and energy to make things happen. And above all, you are like a servant, correct? If you develop a paper plus concept, you develop a software. So a lot of people contact you asking you, even simple clarification, or maybe you have to teach them. You have to be very patient. You're like a servant. Okay. So if you do all of this nicely, the rest will happen. Success will come. Sometime it is slow. Sometime it is takes time. Then this quality versus accessibility. So so they are like same. They are like two sides of the same coin. If you look pick up a coin, you have both sides. So one is the quality, other is accessibility. That means usually if you write a quality, do a quality work, the quality work is also easy to use, easy to access generally. Okay, so keep this in mind. Then of course it seems like this research and publication is a lot of work, but there are benefits. Like paper plus is enormous amount of effort. Okay, so a lot of people write paper, but paper plus only few can do it. But you have got many benefits also. And what are those benefits? And I have listed here some. So some of them can be, you get invitation to present keynote target conferences. So you might even get a invitation from prospective employers. Okay. So as I told you, in my case, I got an invitation from employer. So I was about to finish PhD thesis, invitation to come and join IBM. Okay. Then it's easy to get industrial consulting, industrial projects, and you can get easily media attention. So I was very fortunate in my case also. So usually the newspaper articles, the newspapers, if you have, for example, an article appeared in, they're highlighting your research in, for example, the Hindu newspaper. If they write, because article in newspaper and all, they don't come just like that. Once they know that is very prominent and you are doing a world-class research and you brought Bengal to the world standard, everybody appreciating it. So then these newspaper people write about it. Okay. Then obviously, of course, you can also receive promotion as well. So can happen even if there is a politics, but you can still make it happen. Yeah. So for me, for example, it took from PhD completion, joining lecturer to full professor, it took me 7 years. From lecturer, senior lecturer, associate professor, whatever reader, then professor, all steps in 7 years. Okay, so everything can happen. So okay, so then of course, if you do well, one day you will become hopefully you can become celebrity intellectual, correct? So then you appear regularly in different newspaper, TV and all, and Prime Minister Modi want to consult you regularly, and if he does that, then one day you will get Bharat Ratna Award, just like C.N.R. Rao. Okay, so with that, let me stop here. And thank you all of you for hearing patiently. I think now we have some time to answer any questions that you got. Okay, so here I've listed my email IDs, but they are easy to find. You can just search in Google or any search engine. They will tell you my contact details. Okay, so this is my Melbourne University ID, rb@unimel.edu.au. But as mentioned, I also have this company, mahendrasub.com. So one of this cloud technology, Aneka. I didn't discuss much about it here. So, but I want to, if you want to use it for establishing Cloud Lab or want to build some interesting things, so you can contact me on that email ID, raj@mahendrasub.com. Okay, so let me stop here. Let us open up for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Any question from the audience? I can see Shreya. Shreya is there, right? Shreya, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Shreya, you want to ask Raj? You can open,
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
open your
yeah.
video.
Thank you, sir, for your
Can you make the video open? If possible, yeah.
Yeah, all those who can, please keep a video on.
Yes.
Otherwise, you look like a parda.
Yeah. Yes.
Open the parda.
Shreya, if you have any question or any discussion or other?
Yeah. So thank you, sir, for your such good talk. So, sir, just I have just a little question that sir, what is a white paper? So was just seeing that people are
Okay.
writing. Yeah.
Yes. What is white paper? So usually in industry, so they write an article. So that doesn't have much research, anything like that. They generally broadly provide information on what is the architecture, high level trends, and what might happen in the future. So those are called white papers. And these are generally written by, for example, Gartner, or also, for example, like let's say you are a CEO of a company. And then some of the people want to put some direction in the company, and they want to present it to CEO. If you give CEO your research paper, he cannot understand. So you have to
Right.
give high level one that is called white paper.
Okay. Sir. Okay.
Just
Thank you.
explaining what it is in simple term. What is the architecture? What are the things can happen at high level if your company pursues. Yeah. Or for
Okay.
example, like Modi. So you want to give a national agenda on computer science to Modi. So if you give him your research paper, he won't understand. But instead, you prepare high level, this IoT is like this, edge computing is like this, high level. Then these are the solutions we have done high level. And then if you do that, we can create so many products. Then to do that, you need to invest 1 crore. And if you invest 1 crore, I will create 2 crore jobs.
Yeah.
Correct? Modi will immediately understand. Also, even Mamata Banerjee also will understand very easily.
Right,
Correct?
sir. Yeah. Yeah.
That is called white paper.
Okay.
But if you submit that to conference, journal, they won't accept it. But Modi or Mamata Banerjee will accept it.
Okay, sir.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So any other question? We have some time. Yeah. I wonder that that query is there for last 5 days, that how to answer the reviewers comments. Sometimes some of the comments are that difficult to answer, rather the experiment is difficult to perform. Then how to whether we will avoid it or how to answer that, that is a
Yeah, so this is important. See, for example, let's say you write a paper theoretical, and then you demonstrate the idea through a simulation. Okay, we submit. So let's say this is a very well written paper, everything perfect. So most reviewers have given some this few correction. They like it. Out of 3, one of them says, "Oh, I like it. Everything is good, but I want it to be implemented and practically demonstrated." Correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that implementing and practically demonstrating itself is another big work. That
Yeah.
is another paper. And then, of course, you have a page length limit also, maximum 12 pages. Already 12 pages is filled.
Yes.
So what do we do? In such cases, what we should do is, you address all the comments except that one. Then update the paper, as per those suggestion. Then that part where they're asking you to implement the whole thing. So there you closely write respond. So you respond saying that as noticed by other reviewers, the simulation is also one of the accepted approach. Certainly we appreciate it. Building building this, is another work by itself. So having said that, so we have given some thoughts on how this can be implemented in real world. So we add one section on how it can practically be implemented. Some thoughts. So if you do that much, that person, whatever he was very strong, so he will become softened. He'll become softened because not just because your answer, but also he sees that other reviewers are also very supportive and almost coming to acceptance point. He's hanging on to that point, and he will back down. And also, the editor himself can also say, editor is observing everything. You're doing everything except this part. Editor knows that practically it is almost very difficult to do it. Correct? So that is a way to deal with. So you have to answer diplomatically, more honestly. Plus, we also need to provide some input. We also experience that a lot. So like if I submit to IEEE transaction on parallel dispute system or one, sometime some people come out with this kind of vague idea. So we address 4 reviewers. We address all of them except one, but we wrote why. Then they back down and editor says, no problem, this is all right, acceptable. Yeah. And reverse also is true. You do a practical work, fantastic, very good, everything going fine. Suddenly that fellow will say, why don't you conduct experiments on 10,000 machines? Correct?
Yes.
And you see 10,000 machines, this is only 100, not too small at the correct. You in your lab in West Bengal Computer Department, only 100 are there. Where you will
Yes.
get 10,000 machines?
Yes.
So there again, so we have to do as much as possible some generic answer, then highlight how it can, but demonstrate that whether you do experiment with 10,000, 1 million, or 10, the results are going to be same. You provide some kind of computation complexity and explain, then they will